a lot of times people are programming themselves in a negative way. And it's not really their fault. This is something that has been adopted from childhood or from media. These ideas of being too fat, too thin, too this, too that, not enough this, not enough that, those are all programmed concepts. So when it comes to reprogramming yourself, you have to also deal with the neurology of that, which is creating new neural pathways. So this can include statements like, I am this, I am that. We hear them a lot of times in culture, especially within the woo-woo market of manifestation and these sorts of things. So great, you've said this affirmation over and over again, and you believe it, yet the feedback you're getting from others is not in line with that, and you're going, what the heck is going on? But now you're kind of in a space of illusion or Maya that you are this thing and everybody else is, the problem, which isn't necessarily true. So when it comes to affirmations, here's a few key things to pay attention to not be self-sabotaged by affirmations. First things first, when you have an affirmation and you're crafting it, find evidence for that affirmation. So for example, prior in here, I think Prekinchun mentioned that she was saying that she was happy, but didn't really feel it, didn't really get that true experience. It just seemed to be a Band-Aid. And once the Band-Aid was ripped off, worse than before. That's because the neural pathway was not connected to an actual experience of being happy. So if you have an experience that is joyful, light, and happy, you want to pay attention to that. You want to hold on to that and then add that into your affirmation so that you can take your brain back to this moment of actually being happy and you go, yeah, I am happy. And I was happy in that moment. So now I have anchored that happiness. So coming to the present moment, remembering that anchor point of, in this moment, I was happy, I can recall that moment, and that moment now makes me happy. An example of this is when you have an inside joke with someone, you two will look at each other at a moment that calls up that inside joke, and you will start laughing. It's the same dynamic, and this is also part of neuro-linguistic programming. Kind of along the lines of the same thing of brainwashing, just programming is a much better term. Next is repetition. So one time I had a client, this was through Facebook mentorships when Facebook had that going on, and this person was in a different country and was like, there is nothing good happening here. There is nothing good. I need to escape. This was during COVID. Obviously, that individual is not getting out of where they were. What could change in their situation was my job. Of course, I couldn't solve COVID. Of course, I couldn't solve where they're at. But mindset is something that I could deal with. So I set this individual to a task of, I want you to find one good thing today, one good thing. And I want you to write it down. Tomorrow, I want you to find 2 good things. Write them down. Next day, we're going to add on some more. And we're going to keep doing that until you've created that neural pathway to begin to see and receive the good things that are happening around you. So this is more of a habit formation, retraining, reprogramming your brain, your perception, and creating evidence to not only change what's going on within you, but also seemingly change what's going on outside of you. It all harkens back to that reprogramming, changing your neurology, changing your psychology and your perception of the world around you. The next aspect of this is faith without deeds is dead. So if you're saying, I'm strong, I'm a great dancer, but you're doing nothing to validate that or to get to that point, that's a problem. That creates a mechanism of delusion and obviously self-sabotage because you're not doing anything to make that happen. So not only having the belief, but the actions to back up that belief. So if you're like, I'm strong, and you're using, 10-pound weights one day, and then the next day you're up to 12-pound weights, you're validating those statements and you are reprogramming your brain on top of that. And to conclude my little shitstorm there, we are always programming ourselves. And if we are not programming ourselves, we are letting others program us.